Russians may have their Schengen visas revoked. Tourists from Russia have flooded the resorts of France, Italy, and Greece, so European countries have decided to deprive Russians of their favorite vacations, according to the Italian press. Thus, the European Commission is preparing the 19th package of sanctions, which is expected to include a complete ban on issuing tourist visas to Russian citizens. A decision is expected as early as September 12th. Russians are also not welcome in Turkey. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, attitudes toward Russians sharply deteriorated. Hotels have even introduced an option for guests to stay in hotels where there are no Russians. Russians are also being evicted from hotels and deported from the country more and more frequently. Turkish hoteliers are particularly struck by incidents of theft involving Russians. They take everything from disposable slippers to food products from hotels, writes the UnderEmpire project. In Azerbaijan, citizens of the aggressor country complained en masse about document checks, unknown persons, and violence. At the same time, Poland will completely close its border with Belarus due to military exercises West 2025. This was stated by Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. Tusk said that the aggressive Russian-Belarusian exercises West will begin on Friday, September 12th. On Thursday evening, we will close the borders with Belarus, including railway crossings, announced the Polish Prime Minister. The commander of the Lithuanian army, Raimundas Vaikšnoras, stated that as the joint Russian-Belarusian exercises West 2025 approach, about 40,000 military personnel will be concentrated in the Baltic countries and Poland. Lithuania has even imposed restrictions on the use of part of its airspace ahead of the exercises West 2025. In temporarily occupied Crimea, scouts set fire to valuable Russian air defense assets. A JOR Special Forces unit struck the RLM-M radar module, part of the Nebo-M complex, right while it was on the move. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, this happened on the eve of the scouts' professional holiday.
The skilled operators of unmanned systems control crews from the Department of Active Operations of the GUR Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. On the eve of Military Day, Ukrainian intelligence delivered precise strikes on two expensive air defense system assets belonging to the Russian occupiers in temporarily occupied Crimea.
In particular, a podlet radar station and a meter-band radar module from the advanced Nebo-M complex were successfully hit and neutralized. Also, on the morning of September 9th, an air raid alert sounded in temporarily occupied Crimea. In Sevastopol, public transport was halted, and local social media channels reported alleged launches of Storm Shadow missiles. Traffic on the Kerch Bridge was also stopped. Meanwhile, the velvet season on the peninsula has been ruined. Because of the oil slick, tourists are leaving Crimea or cancelling their reservations. The area of the oil slick approaching Crimea reaches 350 square kilometers. According to reports, the slick formed during the loading of petroleum products onto a Turkish tanker in Novorossiysk. This took place right in the sea from a pipeline owned by the Caspian Pipeline Consortium. A hose burst, causing 10 tons of oil to spill into the sea. As a result, an oil slick formed, stretching from Novorossiysk along the coast of Anapa. It is now very closely approaching the Kerch Strait. 2 bridges down, Ukrainian defenders blew up enemy crossings into Russia, complicating logistics. This was reported by the 58th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade. This was achieved thanks to the coordinated and skillful actions of the 2nd Motorized Infantry Battalion, the Battalion of Unmanned Systems, and the Reconnaissance Unit. The bridges were used by the enemy to transport ammunition and troops. After their destruction, the enemy was left with fewer roads, making it easier for our fighters to keep them under fire control.
Reconnaissance detected unusual enemy activity near one of the bridges. This bridge was actively used by the occupiers to supply their troops. To check, they flew in with an FPV drone equipped with fiber optics. They saw mines and struck the target. After that, they decided to check another bridge as well. There too, they discovered the bridge was mined and blew it up.
Also, in Penza, Russia, a main oil pipeline system has been put out of operation. 2 main gas pipeline pipes with a throughput capacity of 2 million barrels per day have ceased to function. This was reported by a Union source in the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. At least 4 explosions occurred on September 8th in the railway district of the city of Penza. In addition, according to the source in Ukrainian intelligence, 2 more regional gas pipeline pipes were damaged at the same location. This concerns the main Kuybyshev-Lysychansk oil pipeline, which was also blown up on the same day in Russia's Saratov region. According to the source, the affected facility has a capacity of 82 million tons per year. In addition, the Kremlin indirectly confirmed that during the overnight drone attack on September 9th, Putin was in the Sochi area. Vladimir Putin's schedule did not change after the overnight drone attack on Sochi, his press secretary Dmitry Peskov told the TASS agency. On September 8th, Putin participated via video link in an extraordinary meeting from Sochi. The BRICS aircraft, an Il-96-300PU of the Rossiya Special Flight Detachment with the tail number RA96024, which arrived in Sochi the day before, is still at the city's airport according to this flight radar. It was on this very plane that Putin flew to Alaska for a meeting with Donald Trump. On the evening of September 8th, according to Telegram channels, Ukrainian drones attacked temporarily occupied territories as well as Russian regions. In particular, there are reports of a large number of strikes in occupied Donetsk. According to public sources, the former Tapas plant was hit there, a site that the Russians have repeatedly used as a base for military equipment and personnel. Footage of the strikes and explosions is being posted online. According to the Ukrainian channel Dnipro Osint, not only was the former Tapas plant attacked in occupied Donetsk, but also the command post of the 41st Combined Arms Army on the grounds of the Research Institute of Integrated Automation, as well as the command post of the 20th Guards Motor Rifle Division on the territory of the Donetsk metallurgical plant. As reported by the Telegram channel Astra, the occupation head of the so-called DPR collaborator Denis Pushilin stated that, as a result of the attack, 2 people were killed and 16 were wounded. Meanwhile, the commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces drone systems with the call sign Madyar stated that on the night of September 7th, an oil pumping station called Vtorovo in the Vladimir region of the aggressor country was hit. Soon after, satellite images appeared confirming that during the attack on Vtorovo, at least 2 enemy fuel tanks were struck. And on the night of September 9th, drones attacked the Russian city of Sochi. There, an air raid siren went off and later explosions were heard. As usual, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that supposedly 31 drones were shot down overnight. 15 unmanned aerial vehicles were detected over the Black Sea, 7 more over the Belgorod region, 3 additional drones over the Kursk region, and 2 each over the temporarily occupied territory of Crimea and Krasnodar Krai, and 1 more each in the Tambov and Voronezh regions of Russia. Russian propagandist Margarita Simonyan underwent surgery. She shared this on her Telegram channel. According to her, she came out of anesthesia and is doing fine. Earlier, on propagandist Vladimir Solovyov's broadcast, Margarita Simonyan said that doctors had diagnosed her with a serious illness. She did not specify her diagnosis but hinted at a mastectomy. This week I was diagnosed with a terrible serious illness. I have surgery scheduled for tomorrow, right here, just under this medal. According to the Moscow Times, the head of the propaganda outlet Russia Today, Margarita Simonyan, may leave her position due to cancer. The publication sources report that she has very serious health problems. Currently, the question of her continuing to work at Russia Today is being decided, and the possibility of her resignation is being considered. As is well known, the media holding Rossiya Segodnya, which includes the RIA Novosti agency as well as the Russia Today TV channel, is one of the Kremlin's key propaganda tools. Both Margarita Simonyan and the Rossiya Segodnya media group have been sanctioned by the US and the European Union. Simonyan herself says that in her home, "This is not the first misfortune." According to the propagandist, her husband, TV host Tigran Keosayan, has been in a coma in the hospital for 9 months after clinical death. Earlier, Simonyan claimed that because of her husband's serious illness, she allegedly planned to go to the so-called special military operation, as Russian propagandists refer to Russia's war against Ukraine. Soon after, she stated that she gave up on this idea for the sake of her children. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin may have been in Sochi during the drone attack on the city on the night of September 9th. According to Telegram channels, on September 8th it was from Sochi that he participated via video link in the BRICS meeting. According to Flight Radar 24, a few hours before that, an Il-96-300PU aircraft arrived in Sochi.
It was on this plane that the Russian dictator flew to Alaska to meet with US President Donald Trump. According to Flight Radar 24, the presidential aircraft is still in Sochi. During the night, air raid sirens sounded 3 times in the city, and the airport was closed due to drone attacks. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, 2 drones were allegedly shot down over Krasnodar Krai and another 15 over the Black Sea. As is known, Putin's residence is located in Sochi, Bocharov Ruchey. The Kremlin's powerful ruler used to enjoy vacationing there, but lately, due to recent drone attacks, he has almost entirely stopped visiting the city. In May of this year, Russian propaganda channels reported that the helicopter of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin was allegedly attacked by drones. At that time, the commander of the Russian Air Defense Division, Yuri Dashkin, claimed that during the attack, Putin was on a visit to the Kursk region. Soon after, the Moscow Times, citing sources, wrote that Putin was not under attack and that the statement from the Ministry of Defense was a carefully staged performance. According to the publication's sources, the story was spun in the media to convince Russians that the president is not hiding behind others, but supposedly takes risks and makes sacrifices.